Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read all of your part of Great Expectations.
As.
Oh.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. So, 51 sec 1. Is still his parentage? I cannot say. Shape until it was put before me by a wiser head than my own. But when Herbert and I had held our momentous conversation, I ought not to let it rest, but that I ought to see Mr. Chivers and come at the bare truth. I really do not know whether I felt that I did this for Estella's sake. So much concerned some rays of the romantic interest that had so long surrounded me. Perhaps the latter possibility may be the nearer to the truth. Anyway, I could scarcely be withheld from going out to Gerrard Street that night. Herbert's representations that, if I did, I should probably be laid up and stricken useless, when our fugitive safety would depend upon me, alone restrained my impatience on the understanding, again and again reiterated, that, come what would, I was to go to Mr. Chivers tomorrow. I at length submitted to keep quiet, and to have my hurts looked after, and to stay at home. Early next morning we went out together, and at the corner of Gulspur Street by Smithfield, I left Herbert to go his way into the city, and took my way to Little Britain. There were periodical occasions when Mr. Sugars and Wemmick went over the office accounts, and checked off the virtues, and put all things straight. On these occasions, Wemmick took his books and papers into Mr. Chivers' room, and one of the upstairs clerks came down into the outer office. Finding such clerk on Wemmick's post that morning, I knew what was going on, but I was not sorry to have Mr. Chivers and Wemmick together, as Wemmick would then hear for himself that I said nothing to compromise him. My appearance, with my arm bandaged and my coat loose over my shoulders, favoured my object, although I had sent Mr. Chivers a brief account of the accident as soon as I had arrived in town. Yet I had to give him all the details now, and the speciality of the occasion caused our talk to be less dry and hard, and less strictly regulated by the rules of evidence than it had been before. While I described the disaster, Mr. Chivers stood, according to his wont, before the fire. Wemmick leaned back in his chair, staring at me, with his hands in the pockets of his trousers, and his pen put horizontally into the post. The two brutal casts, always inseparable in my mind from the official proceedings, seemed to be congestively considering whether they didn't smell fire at the present moment. My narrative finished, and their questions exhausted, I then produced Miss Havisham's authority to receive the £900 for Herbert. Mr. Chivers' eyes retired a little deeper into his head when I handed him the tablets, but he presently handed them over to Wemmick, with instruction to draw the cheque for his signature. While that was in course of being done, I looked on at Wemmick as he wrote, and Mr. Chivers, placing and swaying himself on his well-polished boots, looked on at me. "I am sorry," it said, as I put the check in my pocket. When he had signed it, Miss Havisham was good enough to ask me, I returned, whether she could do nothing for me. "Everybody should know his own business," said Mr. Chiggers. I should not have told her no. "If I had been you," said Mr. Jiggers. "Every man's business," said Wemmick, rather reproachfully towards me. "Hot," I said, turning on Mr. Chiggers. "I did ask something of Miss Havisham. However, sir, I asked her to give me some information relative to her adopted daughter." "Did she?" said Mr. Jaggers, bending forward to look at his boots and then straightening himself. "Ah, I don't think I should have done so, if I had been Miss Havisham. But, sir, Mr. Jaggers looked at me inquiringly. "Yes," said Mr. Jaggers, "and so have you." "Sir." "Yes," said Mr. Jaggers. "Perhaps I know more of Estella's history than even you do, say I." A certain stop that Mr. Jaggers came to, and his manner was too self-possessed to change his manner. He did not know who her father was, having kept himself dark, which I pieced onto the fact that he himself was not Mr. Jaggers' client, until some 4 years later, and when he could have no reason for claiming his identity. But I could not be sure of this unconsciousness on Mr. Jaggers' part before, though I was quite sure of it now. "So, you know the young lady's father?" "Phil," said Mr. Jaggers. "Yes," I replied. Even Mr. Jaggers started when I said those words. It was the slightest start that could escape a man, the most carefully repressed and the sooner checked. But he did start, though he made it a part of the action of taking out his pocket handkerchief. How Wemmick received the announcement I am unable to say, for I was afraid to look at him just then, lest Mr. Jaggers' sharpness should detect that there had been some communication unknown to him between us, and on what evidence. It passed Mr. Jaggers very coolly, as he paused with his handkerchief halfway to his nose. "He does not make it," said I, "and has never made it." Till once, the powerful pocket handkerchief failed. My reply was so unexpected that Mr. Jaggers put the handkerchief back in his pocket without completing the usual performance, folded his arms, and looked with stern attention at me, though with an immovable face. Then I told him all I knew, and how I knew it. Havisham what I in fact knew from Wemmick. I was very careful indeed as to that. Nor did I look towards Wemmick until I had finished all I had to tell, and had been for some time silently meeting Mr. Jaggers' look. When I did at last turn my eyes in Wemmick's direction, I found that he had unpissed his pen, and was intent upon the table before him. "Ha," said Mr. Jaggers at last, as he moved towards the papers on the table. "What item was it you were at?" "Wemmick." "When Mr. But could not submit to be thrown off in that way, and I made a passionate, almost an indignant appeal to him to be more frank and manly with me. I reminded him of the false hopes into which I had lapsed, the length of time they had lasted, and the discovery I had made. And I hinted at the danger that weighed upon my spirits. I represented myself as being surely worthy of some little confidence from him, in return for the confidence I had just now imparted. I said that I did not blame him, or suspect him, or mistrust him, but I wanted assurance of the truth from him. And if he asked me why I wanted it, and why I thought I had any right to it, I would tell him, little as he cared for separate dreams, that I had loved Estella dearly and long, and that although I had lost her, I must live a bereaved life, world. And seeing that, Mr. Jagger stood quite still and silent, and apparently quite obdurate, under the field, I turned to Wemmick and said, Bunnick, I know you to be a man with a gentle heart. I have seen your pleasant home, and your old father. To be continued.